it's working. So welcome to this CSP Online Lectures series that is an edition between 2025 and 2026. It is this online lecture is organized within the Contemporary Spiritual Practices Network that is part of the European Association of Social Anthropologists, the EASA. Maybe just a few words in introduction on this network that is actually quite new, but it's becoming really an increasingly important space for scholars working on topics such as spirituality, embodiment, and ecology and healing in contemporary anthropology. And so tonight we have a kind of specific event because we are hosting for the first time a workshop. And so this one is going to be on the Marie Curie Fellowships program. And it's the fourth event in our lecture cycle this year. And we are really happy to welcome Pierini and Yael Dansac. Denise is going to introduce them in a moment. Yael and Emily were the ones who actually launched this online lecture series for the CSP last year. And it was a great success. So we are really glad to have them back with us today for this workshop. And also, maybe to say that that this online series is between book discussions. We have also workshops. We have also conferences, and they all actually focus on emerging perspectives in anthropology of spirituality, healing practices, and we really hope that those sessions create spaces for discussions, exchange, and new ideas. And so with Denise, we are chairing this online lecture, and we also are going to develop the program for the next edition, 2026-2027. So any ideas or proposals are really welcome. And so, and also if you want to join the Contemporary Spiritual Practices Network, it's very simple. You can just send us an email. I can just write it in the chat. So thank you very much for being here tonight with us. And Denise, I give you the floor.
Okay. Good evening to everybody. And so Yael Dansac is a lecturer and scientific collaborator at the Center for the Interdisciplinary Studies of Religion and Secularism of the Université Libre de Bruxelles in Belgium. Dr. Dansac's main research fields are anthropology of religion and ritual studies, with a focus on ethnology of contemporary European societies. She has conducted long-term intensive ethnographic fieldwork in Mexico, France, Belgium, and at the United Kingdom. She is former CVS Marie Curie Research Fellow and a current expert evaluator of the European Commission for the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions Fellowship Program.
Non, je pense que c'est leur truc qui...
Émilie,
là, ça va? Ça doit être partage d'écran.
Les gens qui sont en ligne, votre micro. Emily Pierini is the associate professor in anthropology at Sapienza University of Rome in Italy. She was a Marie Curie Global Fellow with the project The Transnational Healing Therapeutic Trajectories in Spiritual Trance, which involved ethnographic research on mediumship and healing in Brazil, the United States, and Europe. She is currently principal investigator of a large-scale Marie Curie staff exchanges project, REHAL, Religion and Healing, collaborative and participatory methodologies, coordinating an interdisciplinary research on religion and healing cooperation in mental health across the world. She has co-edited 2 volumes, authored several articles, as well as the book Jaguars of the Dawn, Spirit Mediumship in the Brazilian Vale do Amanhecer, edited by Belgium in 2020. So, dear Yael, dear Emily, the floor is now yours to present your work. You have 45 minutes, which will be followed by 15 minutes of questions from the participants. Participants must either raise their hand or write the questions in the chat. Please make general questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denise and Manéli, for accepting us today as guests of this lecture series. We're going to go through many important subjects that need to be addressed in order to understand how does the Marie Curie workshop, the Marie Curie Fellowship works. We're going to go through the introduction, the objectives, the eligibility, and the funding. We're going to talk about the differences between the European and the global postdoctoral fellowships of the MSA program, the proposal structure, our experiences as fellows, and we're going to end up with a little outline of the MSA staff exchanges before providing some links and useful resources for you to continue exploring more and getting more knowledge on this interesting program. It's very important for us to outline that this is an informative session. We won't be going through every detail of the MSA program for fellowships. So we encourage you to go to the MSA official website to see other webinars and to read more documentation in order to accurately prepare your proposal. So let's start by talking about this very interesting program and what it is and what it is not. The MSCA fellowship program, it's for advanced training, for acquiring new scientific knowledge and interdisciplinary expertise. It's also for developing innovation, new research ideas, and new methods. It's for skill development, for strengthening transferable skills like communication, leadership, learning how to manage a project. It's also for career impact, for enhancing your employability, mobility, and long-term career prospects. Also, it's for public engagement and outreach, for communicating research to society and learning how to communicate your research to people who is not specialized in your field. Now, what are these fellowships not? So these fellowships are not for long-term fieldwork. They are not intended for extended ethnographic projects. They are also not intended for a teaching role. Teaching must remain limited and secondary. They are not for people who want to start a new discipline from scratch, because proposals must build on existing expertise, as evaluation is also based on prior skills. And it's not a general exploratory grant. It requires a very focused, feasible project with clear objectives. Now, which are the objectives of this program? To support the researcher's career and foster excellence in research. It's mostly targeted at researchers holding a PhD who wish to carry out their research activities abroad, acquire new skills, and develop their careers. The main principles of this program are excellence, mobility, inclusiveness, effective supervision, and career guidance, as well as open science and ethical research. The timeline, indicative timeline, is as it's shown in the slide. There's a deadline on 9 September 2026 for submitting the proposal, and on 9 April the launch for the proposals took place, the call for the proposals. The common errors that we have identified regarding, in general, this program is the missing of the deadline. It's very important for applicants to be very aware of the timeline, not respecting the eligibility requirements, exceeding the page limits or using too small font, missing the letter of recommendation, and confusing the secondments and non-academic placements. Through this workshop, we will also give you key recommendations that will insist on several of these points. Now, who can apply? Researchers who have a PhD degree at the time of the deadline for applications, applicants who have successfully defended their doctoral thesis but have not yet formally been awarded the doctoral degree can also be considered eligible to apply. All disciplines are eligible for these postdoctoral fellowships. The applicant must have a maximum of 8 years experience in research from the date of the award of their PhD degree. That's when we start to count the time. And the applicant should comply with mobility rules. This is a program that is very much based on the idea of mobility, not only of applicants, but also of ideas and exchanges.
Sorry, there is a problem, a technical problem with the slides. They are jumping all the time. So I suggest that you close the sharing, and I will share from my screen if it's fine for you.
Of course, I already did it.
Fine. Okay.
Eligibility, yes. We can go to the next one, please. There's the option of resubmitting a proposal if it was not accepted. This MSCA Seal of Excellence, it's only awarded to proposals that were scored higher than 85%. And in several countries, not all of them, this Seal of Excellence can also help the applicants to get other kind of fundings that are not specifically related with this program. Next one, please. What is covered in this funding? A living allowance, a mobility allowance, and if applicable, for the case of the applicant, a family long-term leave, a special need allowance. In addition to this allowance that would be like the salary, the applicant can get research training and networking activities, and also it can be covered the management and indirect cost of the project. Can we go to the next one, please? Only to show you an idea of the unity contributions that can change from place to place and from country to country, I'm sorry. There's a living allowance, a gross amount of almost 6,000 euros per month per person. There's a mobility allowance that is only given once when the person starts, and there's a family allowance. Besides that, there are institutional unity contributions for research and management. Can we go to the next one, please? All the application process happens online. It has to be done through the Funding and Tenders portal, where you also can check many of the information that you will need to learn during, before, and even after applying for this grant. The next one, please. You will need to develop an application jointly with your chosen host organization and to start preparing your application with a lot of time, thinking that you will have almost 5 months to prepare. You can find a host organization by checking the list of hosting offers. And you can also have to check the concrete fields of research proposed by these host organizations. The next one. All the relevant documents are online. So we encourage you to get familiar with the vocabulary and with the whole process, so your chances for applying and sending a successful proposal get increased. The next one, please. There are 2 main types of postdoctoral fellowships in this program, the European fellowships and the global fellowships. The first ones are open to researchers moving within Europe or coming to Europe from another part of the world. These fellowships can take place in a UE member state or an Horizon Europe associated country and can last between 1 or 2 years, and researchers of any nationality can apply. These are the most demanded fellowships. Last year, in 2025, the MSCA received in almost 17,000 proposals, and 15,000 were for the European fellowships. The global fellowships are a little different. They fund the mobility of researchers outside Europe. The fellowship lasts between 2 or 3 years, of which the first 1 or 2 will be expended in a non-associated third country, followed by a mandatory return phase of 1 year to an organization based in a UE member state or an Horizon Europe associated country. but only nationals or long-term residents of these two settings can apply. So just to sum up, go to the next one, please. Just summing up, European fellowships, any nationality, there's a mobility rule, of course, in both cases. In global fellowship, nationals or long-term residents of European member states or some Europe-associated countries. You can check the list of these countries online. We have different durations for both of them, and both of them can include secondments or non-optional, non-academic, placements of 6 months, which are optional. Can we go to the next one? So just for an example, for a quick example, we have European fellowships where the person, for example, in this case, the French national researcher awarded a PhD in 2020 in Germany, is still residing in Germany, applies for a fellowship in France. Is he eligible? Yes, because in this case, he was awarded a PhD before the call, less than 8 years of experience, and has not resided in France. As you see, the key here is mobility. For the global fellowship, we have a Cameroonian researcher living in France for the previous 3 years, PhD in 2023, applies for a global fellowship with a host in France, and the outgoing phase is in the US. Eligible? It depends, because it can have an awarded PhD before the call of deadline, less than 8 years experience, nor more than 12 months in the US in the 3 years prior to the call deadline. But is he what we call a long-term resident in the European Union member state? So for all these specifications, you can go to the webpage of the Marie Curie. The next one, please. Quickly going on secondments and non-academic placements, both fellowships may include these two options. Can we go to the next one? A secondment, which is optional, is for both of them. For the European fellowship, it's up to 1/3 of the standard project duration, and for the global postdoctoral fellowship, up to 1/3 of the outgoing phase. The secondments must be thought and conceived when you're thinking about the proposal. You cannot add them once you were granted the fellowship. These secondments and the non-academic placements need to have a supervisor and need to be well justified, the next one please, within the project. Can we go to the next one, please? The next one. So talking about the proposal and the structure and evaluation criteria, the excellence part of the proposal weighs 50% of the proposal. The impact is 30%, quality and efficiency is 20%. That's why a proposal stands or falls in the excellent part. In any case, it's very important that the three parts of the proposal have very good scores. Can we go to the next one, please? So as I said, a successful application varies from year to year, but it's somewhere in the mid of 95 of 100. The next one. Thank you. The first part, I will only talk about 2 parts. The excellence part includes the quality and pertinence of the project. It's very important to construct a very complete state-of-the-art, not in the sense that it has to be very extensive. It has to show that you know very well the area that you're trying to study, and you are going to use that state-of-the-art to show the innovation or the innovative quality of your project. The second part of the excellence is the soundness of the proposed methodology. What is the methodological approach, your theoretical grounding, the considerations of your project for gender and diversity, open science, and ethical issues. The number 3 is the quality of the supervision. It's very important to justify your host, the beneficiary, let's say, the host institution, and the supervisor. Why are you choosing them, and what will they provide? Also, what will you provide to the institutions that will be hosting your project? The next one, please. In the impact, you will need to clearly state the credibility of the measures to enhance the career perspectives, how this project is in fact going to help you to enhance your skill development. You're going to justify the quality of the measures to maximize expected outcomes, meaning what are the strategies for dissemination, exploitation, communication, public engagement. And on the last part of the impact, being also very clear, but also without promising things that your project will not do. You have to talk about the magnitude and the importance of the project's contributions. Thank you. Emily, I give you the word.
Thank you, Yael, and thank you, Manéli and Denise, for hosting us. So I pick up from this last part of the proposal, which is quality efficiency of the implementation, which is the part that actually show what you are going to do it and how feasible is your project. So it's an invitation to think through your project, not just in theoretical terms, but actually in what you will do in each phase. And this means starting from a Gantt chart. Some of you may be familiar with the Gantt chart. For others, it might be something very strange and full of strange codes, but it's actually what visually helps the evaluator and also yourself to assess the feasibility of the project in each month of the outgoing, secondment, and incoming phase. This is a Gantt chart for a global fellowship, which was indeed my Gantt chart. So as you can see in this part, you put into this graphic visualization what you discussed in the previous sections regarding the work packages and the milestones and deliverables. So you're actually describing how you will go on about the project. So in my case, I divided in project work package 1, project management, work package 2, literature review, WP3, fieldwork, WP4, data analysis, WP5, training and career development, WP6, dissemination and communication. And all these codes are cross-referenced across the proposal, which is quite important to help to see if the parts of the proposal are well connected. And so it's important to distribute all the activities in the months. In this case, it's a 3-year project, so I worked bi-monthly. And to assess that the activities for each column are balanced. In this case, I distributed the literature review for 2 months at the beginning of each phase, fieldwork distributed after the literature review, and data analysis after fieldwork, and then I spread along the project all the communication and dissemination plan, training activities in the host institutions. Next slide, please. Some key recommendations. So when you're preparing the proposal, first of all, of course, understand the MSCA founding rules, the evaluation criteria, the scoring system, and it's also a good advice to go through the EU Cordis website and look at the projects that have been funded. In some cases, with projects that are already concluded, you'll find the reports online. So see what kind of activities people do, what can be done within this funding scheme. Then confirm eligibility. You apply with comply with the mobility rule, the experience and the core requirements, and start drafting the proposal early, because you also have to make contacts with the supervisors, with the host institution, gather the letter of commitment and all the documentation. So it is important also to browse all the websites of the institution you will be contacting and looking for what their offerings, what you can offer to them. So, and then write the proposal for non-specialist evaluators, defining the methods and technical terms explicitly. So do not assume that you will find anthropologists in the panels, in evaluation panel. Indeed, you may not as well. And this has an impact on how you write your methodology for non-specialist readers. This is why also the EASA has suggested anthropologists to sign up as evaluators on the EU Funding and Tenders portal, so we will have more anthropologists in our evaluators panels. Next slide, please. Institutions and supervision. So you will select an host institution, but make sure they have a strong EU grant support infrastructure. You will need this both in the phase of application and in the phase of implementation, that they can advise you, they can revise your drafts and follow you in the application process. Some institutions also offer training opportunities, training for the grant proposal writing. So it's a good idea to identify institutions that offer such support. And then when you are choosing the institution, the supervision, identify the relevant training opportunities within the institution. So the courses, the seminar, the research groups that are available at each host institution. Ensure that the supervisory expertise aligns closely with the project training. This is one of the evaluation points. So is the supervisor able to train you on that particular topic? So if you're, for example, visiting 3 institutions in a global fellowship, such in my case, you can have one supervisor for each approach you are using. So all the approaches are covered, or areas of specialization. So they can offer you training in the different areas of the proposal scope. For the global fellowship, secure both outgoing and incoming supervisor, and if you're doing a secondment, also a third supervisor for the secondment phase. Clearly communicate the MSCA benefits to the global fellowship outgoing supervisors. So this is important, especially if you're going to a third country, to specify what you are actually bringing through this project. So, for example, there is a research and training budget that can be used to cover seminar expenses. So to organize a seminar or a workshop together with the supervisor to foster international collaboration. What will you bring with your project to the institution? And also clarify how knowledge gained in the ongoing phase will be then transferred back to the beneficial institution after 2 years, where you're going back to your institution in the 3rd year of the incoming phase of the global fellowship. And you have to state how you will do so. It could be by giving seminars, organizing labs, through co-supervision with your supervisor, and so forth. So how you bring in that experience you gather in the outgoing phase to your host institution. And also engage with the colleagues at this host institution, not just with the supervisor. It is important that the training extends beyond the single supervision. So if you identify people in that institution that are working on your topic, you can mention it in the proposal. Next slide, please. In writing up, try to maintain a strong internal coherence across all sections. And as I said, you can use cross-reference to the research questionnaire Q1, or to the task number 2, or to objective 3. And cross-reference these codes around across the sections, so you can give an impression of this coherence, that all sections are in dialogue with each other. And clearly highlight the originality and contribution. And you can use also strategic bolding to guide evaluators. So highlighting the main objective, for example, highlighting the main contribution, that sentence that actually clearly states what the project is contributing, or what is the impact of the project. You also need to be quite specific. It's not enough to say that you will be trained at the host institution by following seminars or giving courses. You need to say which courses you will follow, which seminars you will organize, which research groups. So for this reason, you have to do a little bit of research into the websites of the institution in order to be very specific. Also in terms of when you justify the supervisory expertise, You can mention the books, the publication, the research projects that he leads that are aligned with your research. This gives an idea to the evaluator about the actual expertise that is needed for the project. And this is the same for the dissemination. It's not enough to say I will publish 2 articles in a journal, but you can say I will publish in culture, medicine, and psychiatry. I will publish in cultural anthropology and so forth. But they should be open access journals because there is an open access requirement, or at least these journals should offer open access. And the same for conferences. You can say I will attend EASA 2026 in Poland, but be as specific as you can. And then for the outreach activities, try to imagine and clarify what kind of public engagement activities and which target audience will be directed to. So it's important to clarify all the activities that then will go into the Gantt chart in the communication and dissemination work package. Next slide, please. For the methodology, do not simply list methods, but specify what, when, where, why, and how each method addresses the research question. And it's important to plan fieldwork also carefully because this is not, as said, a doctoral fieldwork, it's a training project. So you have maximum 6 months that you can add of fieldwork, but you can split it into several field visits. In my case, I did 2 + 2 + 2. And also avoid proposing multi-sided fieldwork if you do not have prior experiences of that field. I did multi-sided fieldwork, but I had experience in those sites already. So I was returning to those field sites with the new project, but I already had access and everything. Okay, next slide. Implementation, as said in the looking at the Gantt chart, plan realistically, avoid overloading the project and ensure a feasible scope and balanced workload. So, for example, just select a few publications. We want to do a lot when we're planning a project, but it is important to select the minimum because it's a training project, is not research only focused. So 2 years to the article journal, for instance, to get started. 3 years free article journal, plus you can add a monograph, but don't overload the project. So demonstrate skills for project self-management, both in the proposal and in the reporting. Use planning tools to distribute and assess tasks over time. Asana, ClickUp, Google Sheets give you also the Gantt chart option. Align task and timing in a coherent Gantt chart. Balance research activities, so fieldwork with training components. Account for practical constraints. This is something that I wish I knew before getting into the global fellowship, because there is a lot of relocation activities, bookings, new homes, and flights, and so administrative procedures, reporting, inviting lectures that you did not foresee, and everything is taking time. So less activities at the beginning than you can add up later. Next one, please. And before submission, this is really important, seek feedback from the institutional grant offices. Someone who knows how projects, this kind of project are written, the technical requirements that can help you and give you a feedback. Revise also for clarity, consistency, and alignment with evaluation criteria, and do not go beyond the word limit. Okay, next one, please. And Yael is gonna share with you her experience first.
So as you have seen so far, there's a lot of information to cover. So we decided to include in this session our examples just to illustrate. Each path is very different. Each project is completely different. We just want you to see what we did, how we did it. Maybe it rings some bells on how we constructed our fellowships. Next one, please. So I'll start by the beginning. When I was thinking about applying to the European Fellowship, I was finishing my thesis. It was at that moment when you already have a lot of work. When I started planning I heard about the call. So I took the time to first do the most important, get a good supervisor, get a supervisor who knew this program and who was available and interested in my project. If you have a good supervisor, a good match, it helps a lot of things, facilitating a lot of things. What also helped out is that I reached a university that has a department dedicated to MSCA fellowships and the MSCA program in general. So there was tutoring, there were workshops, and there was even people available for rereading your proposal before you submit it. What I decided to do to propose for the European Fellowship was kind of a continuation of my PhD in the sense that it kept exploring contemporary practices, mostly pagan, in Europe, but I wanted to benefit of the chance of doing the secondment, to have a second host institution in the UK to make a comparative study. So it was a comparative ethnography of this kind of pagan practices in Belgium and in the United Kingdom. The main center was the ULB, which, as I said, I chose because it has a multidisciplinary perspective. Although my project was very anthropological, I wanted to have the chance during this project to extend my exchanges with other disciplines. So I tried to justify why I was going to a center where interdisciplinarity is very important and where there's a very active community of scholars who are working in a variety of subjects that are related to religion in a diachronical scale and a synchronical scale. I also had in that center two specialists who were really who were very well known in the area that I wanted to study. And it helped me make links between different methodologies and different perspectives. For the partner center, I chose the University of Glasgow, more specifically the Department of Theology and Religious Studies, with a professor who is specialized in the religious Scottish cultures. So the center also was chosen because it has international members, an interdisciplinarity approach. It's connected to other social sciences departments in Scotland, not only in Glasgow, and it is specialized really in religious landscape and dynamics, which I needed to really ground in a very effective way this project, and mostly to conduct a good ethnography. It also had several initiatives. Both centers had several initiatives to enhance participation of public, like for example, hosting an open access, let's say, a conference that it's for everyone once a month. They host a conference for a public that is not specialized, where the colleagues, we, the members of the centers, we can go and explain our projects or share our results. Next one, please. So as I said, I chose mainly two countries, dividing the time, the 2 years period of the fellowship, mostly spending the time in Belgium and doing one fall semester in Scotland. In Scotland, I had the chance to do field work all over the place, from Orkney Island in the north to Glasgow, Edinburgh, Dumfries, and Galway in the south. So I was moving a lot between different places collecting the data. In Belgium, I concentrate in Brussels and in the main site where I was collecting, where I was studying my these pagan practices, which is an archaeological site close to the frontier to the border with Luxembourg. And even if it was very concentrated in Wallonia, I also had the chance to do a lot of exchanges with scholars of other universities, which was another plus of working in Belgium. That in Belgium you have this division, you have the French-speaking universities, you have the Flemish universities, and you have the chance to make connections between very different ways of doing research, very different perspectives, even of doing anthropology and of understanding the ethnology of Belgian society, so that's a Belgian society. Now, there were cooperations, exchanges, and networks that I could build inside each country and between those two countries. So these exchanges took place in this like workshops and lectures where we invited people from Glasgow to come to Brussels, where fellows from my department went to Glasgow. So I really tried to put forward the exchanges and the benefits for both centers, the benefits that they will have if I was a fellow trying to make these links between two different groups of researchers. These exchanges so took place between the University of Glasgow, the University of Edinburgh, my university, the ULB, the ULB for the Flemish, which is the VUV, and the KU Leuven, which is the Catholic University Leuven in Belgium. Next one, please. That was for the fellowship. For the outcomes, this is the fellowship that really encourage you not only to move, but to learn other ways of exposing your results. It was from the beginning planned. I had planned from the beginning to have several activities for main communication, meaning and in the last 6 months of the project, having activities to share the results of the project with the general public. And I also had main dissemination activities to a specialized public that I divided all throughout the fellowship. So from the first semester to the last. These activities could, thanks to the fellowship, took place in North America, in Latin America, and all over Europe. This kind of outcomes really helped me not only to exchange my ideas with other specialists, but to give a lot of publicity, let's say, to the project and forge new networks and new projects that I was already planning for after the fellowship. Because it's very important to think when pondering on the outcomes, that the outcomes do not finish the day that you finish the fellowship. Can we go to the next one, please? Like we have specific outcomes that are planned. In my case, I had workshops like the sacred dichotomies that took place in Glasgow. I had lectures and conferences that took place, like in this example, in Vancouver. I had a transnational workshop that brought scholars from all over the world to Brussels. And I have also thought about a seminar for the PhD students of the Wallonia region. So these were outcomes that were already planned in my project. Can we go to the next one? These outcomes that were already planned included also one chapter in edited volume, research articles, articles for non-specialized public, keynotes, lectures, and papers in international conferences. But as I said, once you finish the fellowship, it's not the end of the outcomes. So you continue, in fact, to exploit the results. You continue to think about ways of putting it out there, all the work that you did, and this will come out, in my case, through one monograph, one edited volume, and one special issue. So that continues to give. All this to tell you that it's a very it's an incredible opportunity, of course, to have this kind of grants. It really helps you to extrain the skills that you have, to develop some others that you don't have, and to develop networks mostly, because you are going to do a lot of mobility. And as I said, don't think of mobility only of yourself in the space, but of ideas. I already said, of exchanges, ideas, even objects. So just to finish, in my experience, everybody said, don't be afraid of applying. It's true. The margin of the score for getting the grant is very high, but it's not even about not having fear. You have really, you don't lose nothing trying, because even the fact of preparing your proposal is going to help you learn a lot about what you need to do a good research proposal in general. So I really invite you to try to apply, to try it, even if it's as an exercise. At the end, winning it doesn't grant you an automatic post and a tenure track position, not at all. And not winning it, it doesn't mean the end of the world. At the end, it's a very educational experience. Thank you. To you, Emily.
Thank you. Indeed, I mean, if you don't get it, you can still reapply or use your proposal for other schemes, which is also an opportunity. So it's a way to train to write a good proposal. In my case, I was awarded a global fellowship, and it happened in 2020 during lockdown. So part of my outgoing phase was actually online. Then once I was able to travel, I did, and I did part of my outgoing abroad. My project was called the Transnational Healing Therapeutic Trajectories in Spiritual Trance. Next slide, please. And it was, my mobility was between, it started as an outgoing phase in 2020 at the Universidade Federal de Santa Caterina for 18 months, part of which I did it online. And then a secondment at University of Oxford for 6 months, and a short visit at CRIA, East Lisbon, for 1 month. And during which I did also fieldwork in Portugal, and then an incoming phase of 12 months at Sapienza University of Rome, which was the beneficiary institution for the project. And so fieldwork took place in Brazil, US, Portugal, and Italy. And during this mobility, I organized roundtables and workshops at all host institutions. I had a supervisor specialized in each of the approaches I was seeking to bring together. So next slide. So just the project focus was investigating the transnational mobility of practices and concepts related to trance and spiritual healing. The innovation of the project was this transnational analysis of the therapeutic trajectories of people who learn spiritual trance for healing purposes. So it was an analysis of the same practice in different countries. And the originality of the approach was combining social medical anthropology and anthropology of religion in dialogue with research in psychology and psychiatry. And in each of the host institutions, I organized a workshop bringing together anthropologists, psychologists, practitioners, healers, traditional healers, and so forth. So it was an incredible opportunity to engage in these discussions on a kind of multi-local dialogue across these countries. Next slide. The planned outcomes across 3 years were 1 book, 3 articles in scientific journals, 1 conference panel, 3 project workshops, 3 conference papers, 1 project final conference, 1 website, and 1 social network channel. This is what I have in the proposal. Next slide. And this is what I ended up with, multiplying all the outcomes with one project final conference, 3 conference panels, 7 project workshops, participation in 7 other events and seminars, 13 conference papers, 6 project presentation, 2 edited books, 6 chapters in the edited book. Then 5 articles in scientific journals, 1 website, and 5 social network channels. Of course, I'm still publishing on the project, the trans now. And of course, all this had an impact on my career. This scheme is to develop the candidate's career. And it did so in many ways. Through the Global Fellowship in some countries, there's the possibility of being eligible for a tenure track position. So I started my Global Fellowship as a postdoc, and I ended up on a tenure track position along the way after passing several evaluations. Not all universities have this kind of opportunity to be eligible. Some do, but only with the 3 years global fellowship, not with the 2 years one. And then, of course, it can happen also with the European in some host institution, not in Italy, but perhaps abroad. It depends on the kind of networking that you can also do. This is a possibility to do networking as well. Indeed, all across these 3 years, I was able to develop the network I coordinate. Next slide. Oh, these are the some of the posters of the different events that we organized at the different institutions in Brazil, at Oxford and at Sapienza, and the edited book that came out from the project. Next slide. And this is the network that I was able to develop. It was already existing before the project, so I'll draw upon those contacts to then design my proposal. And but then through the workshop, this network expanded, and even after the project continued to expand. Especially, it's a network that brings together anthropologists, psychologists. It's quite interdisciplinary and organizes events across the world. We just went to Yale with Yael in the US to do a workshop this year. So it's quite international. We're organizing activities around the world. Next slide. Indeed, after the Marie Curie Global Fellowship, sometime after, through the network, we decided to apply with some members to the Marie Curie staff exchanges. This is another opportunity, which is the former Marie Curie Rise. Next slide. It's an opportunity to do some visiting fellowships around the world to build a consortium for a 4-year project, a large project, which needs to be international, interdisciplinary, and intersectorial. These are the 3 requirements. So intersectorial means including partners that are both academics and non-academics, such as third sector, NGOs, cultural centers, and so forth. The funding for this scheme covers secondments, networking, and project activities such as events, conference, workshop, and training, and is used to facilitate knowledge sharing and test innovative approaches for specific research and innovation topics. So still being an MSAA program, is a program for training. It does not include salary. It includes only cost, the budget for secondments and events. So the funding amount for each organization depends on the number of person-month units indicated by each consortium partner institution. The objective is aimed at developing a product or a methodology through these exchanges. Next slide. The eligibility, in terms of eligibility, the consortium should be international, involving at least 3 independent organizations from 3 different countries, at least 2 from the EU member states and associated countries. PI and team leaders at participating institutions should be tenure or on a tenure track position. Teams can include staff members with a contract with the institution. So those who can go in mobility are doctoral and postdoctoral researchers, professors, and technical staff. Funding covers mobility allowance, but not a salary. So institutions are responsible for continuing paying the salary of those who are in mobility. Secondment duration, each staff member can go into secondment for minimum 1 month and a maximum 12 months along 4 years. And this can be divided in split stays in more than 1 country. So one staff member can move across the different countries of the participating institutions. Next slide. The coordinator leads the project and submits the proposal, the PI, so the beneficiary institution, the coordinator institution. There are beneficiaries, the EU member states and Horizon Europe associated countries that of the host and second staff, and they signed the grant agreement with the EU. There are non-associate fair countries that participate as associate countries. They host staff, but they do not sign the grant agreement. And these are divided into low and middle income fair countries that are eligible for mobility funding towards beneficiaries. So a fair country that is classified in the list, in the EU list as low or middle income, can receive funding to come to Europe. High-income third countries do not receive funding, but they rely on national co-funding schemes in order to come to Europe. But they still host scholars and they can hold events within the project with the scholar research and training funds. Next one.
Maybe Emily, because we only have 15 minutes left for the questions, and there are a lot of questions in the chat. But maybe do you have still for many slides or?
No, just a couple.
Okay, so.
Okay, so unit cost, it's 510. There's staff and member mobility allowance, and there's the research and training and management cost. And the total funding for an institution depends on the number of months abroad. Next. The timeline, this is the call will be launched again in December, and the next submission deadline is April. I suggest starting 6 months in advance to work in building the consortium. Next slide. This is our current project. I'm a PI of Real Religion and Healing, Collaborative and Participatory Methodologies, coordinated by Sapienza University of Rome, with 13 partners, 10 countries, 30 staff members, 169 per month, and it's a 4-year project. Next slide. So it investigates innovative interdisciplinary methodologies for fostering collaboration between researcher, healthcare professionals, religion and traditional healers, people with lived experience of mental health condition and their carers. So it focuses on mental health and practices of spiritual trance and possession, and it aims to bridge the epistemological divide between biomedical, religious, spiritual, and traditional perspectives, identifying best practices for collaborating in healing. So it brings together anthropology, creative arts, sociology, psychology, and psychiatry. And our activities are seminar series, roundtable, and multimodal workshop at the different partner institutions. And the outcome is a methodological toolkit. Okay, next slide. So here we have some link and resources that perhaps can be shared with participants. Next slide. with several YouTube videos, and there are some info sessions coordinated by the MSCA program at the EU. So you're welcome to look through these links and resources that explain in detail the rules, the application process, and also there are Q&A sessions with the EU, the Commission members. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you to Yael and Hamile for this great presentation. And please raise your hand if you have some questions. I can start reading some of the questions that are in the chat. The first one was, could you specify what an extended ethnographic project is? Does that mean a long-term ethnographic project, or does it refer to an extension of an ethnographic project already started for a PhD project, and an extension of such a project?
I can answer that one. What we said, in fact, is that the Marie Curie is not for an extended ethnographic project, meaning that in the proposal, the ethnography must last maximum 6 months. So this is not the grant for doing an extensive research in ethnography. I would not recommend to do something that already started in the PhD. The idea, as we said, is to try to be innovative in the proposal. So it should not be an extension of a project that you already presented.
Okay, so there's another question. I go on reading if someone wants to raise his or her hand. It's Nadia Augustiniak, okay, about the fieldwork component in the global fellowship. Does the maximum 6 months of fieldwork during the outgoing phase mean that the remaining 18 months are spent on analysis and or training activities while still in the country?
It depends if the fieldwork activity takes place in the country of the host institution or not. Of course, if you are doing the fieldwork in the same country where you're doing the outgoing phase, that's fine. But of course, you need to balance the training activities with the fieldwork. This project cannot be just fieldwork. You need to follow courses, be active in the department that is hosting you, attend seminars, engage with scholars, present your work, and so forth, and build these also transversal skills.
Okay, another question.
Wait, just a question, Yael. Maybe as you have the slides, maybe you can just copy and paste the links that are in the chat. I think it will be very useful.
Yes, I will.
Another thing that we have recorded this online lecture, so then we can share it in our channel, so you can find all the slide and all the address. Another question is from Leona Nikolic. Do you recommend reaching out to a potential supervisor before you have a project idea? I'm currently finishing my thesis, and I'm wondering if it would be best to take time now to think about and develop a postdoc project, or to just reach out to a potential supervisor right away to express interest.
I would recommend to reach out to the supervisor with an idea plan, and then see how the host institution may support this plan, what they can offer, and so on.
Okay, it's always Leona Nikolic. Is there
there is also Kristen that raised her hand, I think.
Pardon?
Yes, I just have a follow-up question, and maybe more about to Yael, because you said you came back to sites you already knew, which allowed for multi-sited. I'm an anthropologist in Java, so it would be a global ethnography. Would that be 6 months maximum? First question is, would it be 6 months maximum to go to Java, or is it a year in the global fellowship? And because I already have field work for my PhD in the region, even though my topic would be different, is your experience that already being familiar with your sites helped you with the fellowship? Or should I actually change locations entirely for Java? I have those options available because I have 2 projects in mind.
I think the question is for Emily because it's the global fellowship. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you already have experience in the field, you can state so in the proposal. So the kind of background experience is a requirement of the proposal. So how much do you already know about a topic? This could also facilitate your access. Starting a new field work from scratch for only 6 months, I don't know if it really depends from the kind of project objective, honestly. So it really depends on the specificity of your project.
Okay, so we go on with the question.
This was 6 months
Sorry.
in the field.
Okay. Leona Nikolic asks, is there flexibility with changes to the project after receiving the fellowship? Can you decide to do something else, go in a different direction?
If I may answer, because we had some of these experiences with COVID that actually closed access to to traveling to several sites. During COVID, there was flexibility. All kind of changes from the regional proposal should be discussed and approved by the project officer at REA. So it's up to they really need to be justified. So there was some flexibility during COVID, but as far as I'm aware, there is not much flexibility. It really depends whether it's force majeure.
Fleur Muguet asked whether you spent several months preparing the proposal. Yael said at least 5 months.
Yeah, if the call goes out in April and you submit in September, you should have around 5 months to prepare. So as early as you can start, I mean, it depends also on the time that you have. Personally, I think even 2 months makes it. If you are very disciplined and you have a very good schedule and a supervisor who is available and all those things align, you can even do it you don't need 5 months.
Okay, so I think that you have answered even to Leona Nikokic that it was
a recommendation, because it's important also not to submit on the deadline day, because sometimes there might be technical issues on the portal. So do submit in advance.
Okay. What is the usual success rate for the postdoc fellowship?
I have the information of last year in 2025. As I said, there was 17,000 proposals that were submitted. And from those, there were around 3,000, if I don't recall right. It was like 1,600 European fellowships that were accepted. And around half of that for the global fellowships. Now, the global fellowships are not as demanded as the European because you need to have more work behind when configuring your proposal. So that's why most than half of the proposals will be only for 2 years and for for people of any nationality. So that's the rate for an example.
Thank you. Yeah. What? And for Flavia De Faria, how can I find out the project format? You can find it on the link that Yael has already, that we have put on the chat. And then Margaret Brady, how is the 8 years of professional experience post-PhD that determined? And she thanked you for this clear and informative talk. What kind of professional experience you need?
Emily, would you like to answer that one?
Emily?
The 8 years of professional experience, it really depends on the on what is assessed. You need to check the eligibility. Professional can be professional experience as anthropologists outside academia as well. But you need to check the rules. So also because some rules change at every call. So the call I applied to was different from the call that is out today.
Okay, so there's Alexandra Juanca said, for global fellowship, you would be affiliated, supported for the first 2 years by a university based in a non-EA country, not that you do research outside of Europe. I don't know.
It was a comment to Christine's question.
Okay.
It wasn't a question. It was
Okay.
just a comment.
And Emily, was your host institution in Italy or in Portugal?
In Italy, my beneficiary institution was Sapienza University of Rome.
Okay. We have already answered to Leona Nicolis.
There is the last question of Flo. Is it possible to apply? I don't see the question. Is it possible to apply to a host institution primarily because of the researchers and the lab there, or does the new fieldwork necessarily need to be located there?
I think I will answer that, but I would also like to hear Emily's point of view on that. I think it's the three things. You have to consider the work, the researchers that already work, if they are developing things in your area, in the area that you would like to study. Also, if it's a place that it's doing like break-grounding research on your field that is making new things, yeah, that will definitely count. I was going to add just quickly that when the proposal is evaluated, all these points are very important. The justification of the host and the host or the partner center, for example, the second center, is very important to justify very clearly why there and what will you bring to the table if you go to those centers.
Okay, so I take that maybe the last one, the less than 1 year presence in the host institution condition, is it from the start of the MSA action or from the closing date of the application processes?
From the start date of the MSA action.
Okay, so we are on time. Thank you a lot. It was great.
There is a very last question in the
Another
chat, and then we are done. Is it absolutely necessary to have defended the PhD before application, or is there a tolerance?
Well, I'll go with that one. Before the deadline, you have to successfully defend your thesis. Even if you don't have that diploma yet, you will be asked for the paper that says that you defended the thesis and it was successful. And there's no tolerance if you don't have that paper, sorry.
But just the last word, I think that you can find everything on the website. It's really clear. It takes time to read all the links, but you can find everything there. So thank you very much, Yael and Emily. And thank you all the people that are online for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you at our next online lecture, which will take on October 20, on the 2026, always at the same time. On that occasion, we will be delighted to welcome Professor David Napier from University College of London, who will give a lecture entitled "Why Safety is Fatal." So, we wish you all a restful and wonderful summer, and we look forward to seeing you again in the autumn. And thank you again. And it was great. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Yael. Thanks, Emily. It was very useful. And so we said that the session was recorded and it's going to be published, I think, in a few days on the channel, YouTube channel of the CSP.
Okay. follow us on.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye, everybody.
Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you, guys. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Thank you, Nicola.
much.